Okay, we'll add a little bit to that last talk. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about getting accounts and how we get them and so on. When I first started, I took over my dad's business. I was 19 when he passed away. So, I had 50 accounts and mow and blow. That's what I was doing. And then I got polio 5 months later, and was out of business for a whole year. So when I came back, I sent letters to everybody. I got 3 jobs, but then everybody that I knew, I buy at a nursery. I told them they get a few jobs for me. City College, I knew the instructors. They got a couple jobs for me, and little by little, you pick up more and more, because I didn't have any money at that time. I wasn't going to buy any accounts, so little by little, I built it up. So in those days, I was what I call, in a lot of my life, what I call myself is a mercenary. If it's not illegal, I'll do it. I used to do some god-awful jobs, Nowadays, my son Robert, he looked at a job the other day. It's about 150, 200 steps up to the garden. And then you had to work up there and you had to bring all your equipment up and back and forth. So the lady showed him around, $15, $20 million house. They got a lot of money and she wanted to bid. And Robert says, sorry, I don't want this kind of job. He said, by the time we walk in, we're bushed. We got to bring all our equipment and everything. And he said, so, madam, what I suggest is you get your, and we were supposed to, she wanted twice a week. He said, madam, what you need is a full-time gardener. All the equipment and stuff is here. All he has to do is walk in and work here. If the place is so big, if you could give him a room, let him live there. And if he needs help, he can get a student to help him. But it'll behoove you to have a full-time gardener every day, 5 days a week. So that's how that went. So anyway, never advertise. I don't believe in advertising. And a lot of people, what do they call it today? You advertise, I forget, got a page.
Like a publicist.
What?
Like a publicist?
Yeah, you know what I do. You put everything out there, what you do. But when people are looking at that, they're pricing. It's just like buying a pair of shoes. Try on 20 pair and buy none. So people do that with gardeners. They bother 15 or 20 gardeners. And you don't want to do that. Work, if you can, by recommendation. And that's why I say if the nursery recommends you, they usually know that client. And they'll tell you a little bit about them, But anybody could put a big ad, we used to put ads in a phone book. You'll probably say, what's a phone book? People today don't know what a phone book is, And we've had gardeners who used to put in half a page and pay, in the old days, $150 a month, and all they do is run around looking at jobs. They don't get hardly any because so many people call. So a lot of times in ours, when people call us and say they're looking for a gardener, and we ask them first off, who recommended you? When they tell me they found me in some listing, I said, oh, we're not taking any new accounts. And of course you may go buy a good account that way. But if you're very hungry in the beginning, you're going to look at it, But as you get good accounts that you're happy with, you don't want to keep chasing your tail. You rather be out there working. When you're working, you make money, okay? And then the other thing that comes into when you are out there, in my opinion, is called ethics, and this has to do with honesty. You do not want to take if you're working for somebody, you don't want to take your employer's job. Unethical. In fact, I don't even want to take other gardeners' jobs. A lot of times people call you saying, I want and you ask them, do you have a gardener? And a lot of them will lie to you and say, no, I don't have. We just moved in. They had a gardener, but they're looking for a better deal. So a lot of time I'll give a price, not thinking, and my price is lower than the previous gardener. So there I'm mowing the lawn or doing something, and the gardener comes by and he's a little teed off. How come you took my job? I said, well, the lady called me, and I said, by the way, how much were you getting? Well, I don't want to tell you. Well, I said, I'll tell you how much I charge. And I said, you know, $25. He said, I was getting 40. I said, don't worry, I'll quit. He said, you'll quit? I said, you better believe I'll quit. I'm a dummy. And so you call up and make an excuse. I can't do your job or whatever. You don't want to cut somebody else's price. You're lowering the standard. And you wouldn't want it if somebody did that to you. You know, so, you know, you have to think a little bit about what you want to do when you're picking up these accounts. So a lot of time, who you know. A lot of my son Robert said, well, we have to be neat, clean, honest, ethical. Because you work for Mrs. Brown, you got to be careful. Mrs. Brown knows Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Hill, or 15 other jobs in the neighborhood, and you work for all of them. Any of those 15 you screw up on, you may lose them all. So you want to do the best work you can. And if the best work you can isn't good enough for them, that's not your fault. You're doing the best you can. Try not to make too many mistakes. We all do. But a lot of time, eat your mistake, and that makes points for you too. You know, like if you go to a restaurant, they serve you a bad meal, you tell them about it. A lot of time, they'll say, well, next time you come back, the meal is free. Hey, you're going back. But if they give you a bad time, say, oh, the food's good, there's nothing wrong, everybody else is eating it, and all like that, you may pay the bill, but you're not coming back. Okay, same thing with gardening. You know, this is business. You gotta think that way. See you later.